Hey, Nick Timmermann. Good to see you, man. Thanks for taking a little time to answer some questions for my students. We got some brand new students that are looking at my big screen with your face and my face on it. So, thanks for taking some time. If you don't mind, just kind of starting with an introduction, introducing yourself.
Yeah, Nick Timmermann. I graduated in 2011 from Ranken. Um, been programming ever since. I have bounced around a lot, doing different roles. Spent a couple years just being a database SQL programmer for a bank. That was awful. Worked for a little marketing agents. Now I am a front end guy, but I full stack. But spend most of my time doing .NET up until now. I'm doing Angular front end, so JavaScript framework made by Google, on top of, unfortunately, a PHP back end. We got some legacy stuff to deal with, but yeah, working for a little startup, 40 people, only like 8 engineers.
Okay. What's the name of the startup?
Engage Mobilize. I
Engage
remember
Mobilize.
we're in oil and gas sector. We make SaaS, software as a service, for oil and gas, for managing logistics around their fracking sites and coordinating water and crude and gas, going in and out, and mobile apps and everything to track all the drivers, all the trucks, to do the logistics. And we built out a new invoicing so they could actually pay people and stuff all through it.
So you do both web apps and mobile apps.
I don't personally do mobile. We got a mobile guy,
Okay.
but we just rewrote all that stuff in Flutter,
Flutter.
um,
Okay, cool.
which so we have one code base for iOS and Android.
So my current class is the C sharp class,
Oh, nice,
and so we're learning the foundations of C sharp programming right now. So you did
nice.
.NET for many years, you said.
Yeah. .NET Core, microservices, built out a whole framework for a construction company and an Angular front end for it for about 4 years, three,
Nice.
4 years as a contractor. I did
Okay.
lots of. This is the first non-contracted job I've had in like 6 years,
Okay.
but
What?
I've been here for three.
Just out of curiosity, what's your job title at Engage Mobilize?
I am a senior software developer,
Nice.
at least for the next couple weeks. Then I am going to be software development manager. So I'm going to be the head dev or engineer for our main product.
That's quite the title. Congratulations.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we're just getting Series B funding, so we're about to explode and start hiring like crazy.
Ah.
So we need somebody in between developers and director of engineering,
Okay.
or VP of engineering, whatever his title is.
That's still cool, though. I mean, I just want you to think about, how many people are in my class right now or potential students, and they're like, I'd like to be this guy someday. You know what I mean? So I guess we'll jump ahead. Like, what have you done in your career to get you to where you are?
I, especially after the first couple years, basically once I got to Denver, I never stopped learning. I keep changing technologies, just kind of like pick up whatever they ask, wherever the money's at.
Yeah.
That is always kind of where I go. Doing .NET Core, doing Angular, which now I'm pretty savvy with.
Nice.
And it's like, hey, you want me to do PHP now, but still my main bread and butter of Angular? Sure, I'll learn PHP. It's painful, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
But never stop learning.
Yeah.
Keep adding new tools to your toolbox.
Great advice. Great advice. And you've been doing that for a decade.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
got you from entry level to mid level to senior to manager.
yeah, yep.
It's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. You're clearly working from home. Have you been working from home before the pandemic or what?
I had, funnily enough, I had been contracting, which I also recommend. I'll get to that in a sec. But so that was mostly from home. Occasionally, I'd go into the client's offices when I was contracting, but mostly I was at home. Then I finally get a W-2 job at Engage, 2 years ago, February. So I went into the office. I bought all new clothes. I,
Oh,
updated, shaved, trimmed my beard off and stuff. I was in the office for like 2 months, COVID, bang. I'm like, okay, back home,
All
you
right.
know.
So
And then I go back in occasionally, but I don't have to.
yeah, yeah. So you've been working from home since you moved out to Denver. Is that what it sounds like?
Minus like my very first gig.
So what
Yeah.
year was that? What year, roughly?
See, I was 7 years ago.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I think you already covered the languages on the job right now. You're saying PHP, JavaScript. You've done a lot of .NET,
Yeah.
a lot of SQL in your day.
Yeah. hmm
Anything I'm missing there?
Uh, Past couple of gigs until now, Mongo, NoSQL
Mongo.
database.
Yeah.
Back to MS SQL, but Mongo is pretty interesting if you've got a good use case for it. If you don't try and make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, what's a day in your life like on the programming side in your work shoes?
Mm. Um, Stand up every morning, 9 o'clock.
Yep.
But we do it in Slack, which is cool. This is the first company where we don't all like go to a room or whatever, but we're all spread out and at home and stuff. So we just do Slacks.
Just a little aside note, I always ask this question, and it always starts, every alumni, it always starts with a stand up. So, I mean, I've asked this
Well, you
question
say a day in
15
the life.
times, and I've gotten the
Yeah.
15th. And so my students probably never knew what a stand up was, but now they're like, okay, another stand up. I get it.
What I did yesterday, what I'm gonna do today,
Yeah.
and then blockers, if any.
Yep.
Um, as I've been moving up and more of the senior guys, I'm in more meetings than I would really prefer.
Yeah.
Um, because I'm part of product planning, like building out new features, that kind of thing. So the design, long before we've got it ready to be worked,
Yep.
helping build that stuff out with the product guys, with the salespeople, that kind of thing. Even though I'm not technically the manager yet, I already kind of have my own little squad of junior, mid, and newer seniors.
Yeah.
So lots of pull requests, a
Yep.
lot of reading other people's code,
Mm-hmm.
trying not to be watch my language, but a jerk,
Yeah.
saying like, "Hey, I know you worked on this for a couple weeks. We need to make some changes." I'll
Yeah.
let the product guy know it's going to be another week.
So a lot of code review.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
interesting because we haven't heard that from an alumni yet, where it's like not only have you worked your way up through the chain, up through the ladder, and now you're sitting at the top and you're reviewing other code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We require on all pull requests anything you haven't gotten to Git yet, but whenever you want to merge your feature code that you've been working on into the master branch, the master code base, it has to be reviewed
Yeah.
and pass writing unit tests, and all of your unit tests have to have full coverage and it passes.
Well, we
All that
haven't
stuff.
we have not done a lot of collaboration using Git, but all of
Yeah.
our students' works it's all turned in on GitHub Classroom.
Oh, cool.
And so they turn in, all their work with GitHub Desktop, and they just we push and pull back and forth. And so we're not doing a lot of merges yet, but they're at least familiar with the tool set. So
That's my other job. I get to fix merge conflicts. I'm the main guy, at least for our main product.
how difficult
Orchestrating.
is that?
Um, Luckily we have a pretty small team, so it's not that bad.
Good.
I've worked at big companies, you get 30, 40 people working on one code base.
Yeah.
You can't stay updated fast enough. So it still happens sometimes, but it's if multiple people are working on the same page or feature
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. So probably the question that I'm most excited to ask you, because you have so much experience, what software throughout your career would be like the most, what is the coolest software you've worked on? What is like, this is, everyone would
You
be
mean-
jealous, for a Tesla self-driving car, whatever. It might not be self-driving cars, but what software is like that where it's like, man, that'd be cool to work on?
All right, I got one. So it was a company called Trimble. They're in like 20 countries. It's a gigantic company. It's like a conglomerate. But what I worked for, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, MEP, And so what we did, it's for contract. I was contracting, but it's for like electrical contractors. They scan in blueprints for, and it's only worth it for giant building, like building a new hospital or something. All of the blueprints of all of the floors, and they have to estimate how much it costs to do the electrical for an entire hospital. They, which is an immense task, and they have to do these bids quickly, so they can get a bid in. But they try to get as many bids out as they can. So what we actually do is we would pull that up on an HTML canvas,
Yeah.
and I wrote this tool set so they can draw, like follow where the electric lines or plumbing, HVAC, and it measures like it, you know, measures the scale off of the drawings, and so 10 feet, 20 feet, and then it does all of the pricing for the materials, for the labor, that kind of thing. And then we
Wow.
even got into OCR. So like if a giant room is going to have, or a floor is going to have 200 of the same light fixtures, you don't need to click it 200 times to count all of them. And it would do that too. But we use OCR to pick one. And then you say, this is this kind of light bulb. And it would flip, it takes a second, but it would flip through and count and would put a dot on all 200 of those exact light fixtures.
Wow.
And then we built on it to go, and it would go through every floor in the hospital and match all of those light fixtures to
You think
save them.
about the strategic advantage that a company has with a piece of software like that to be able to give accurate, quick bids on
Yeah,
huge projects.
yeah.
Um,
It and it gave them more confidence in the final bid, so they didn't have to pad in as much risk, as much, because they
Fluff.
don't they yeah, they don't want to lose money on this, and so they leave 15% on top, so they don't lose money.
Yeah.
And they were able to trim that down because they're more confident that the number is right, so they can and get more bids that way because they are padding less.
That's pretty slick, man. That's really cool.
That was the one that was all microservices. We built a whole platform. Now I haven't been there in a while, but they're building more products off of the microservices MongoDB platform that really only me and three other guys built out over 3 years.
Wow. Nice, nice.
That was the best job I've ever had.
Very cool. Very cool. What tips would you give a beginner to get their foot in the door? You're just graduating Ranken. How am I going to get my first job?
Tell them you know how to do it and then figure it out by the time you start. Seriously, I do it all the time. Even on my day-to-day thing, they're like, can you do this? Say yes, and then learn fast.
All right.
Nights and weekends, and bullshit your way through, fake it till you make it.
I remember
Even
that I almost knew that was going to be your advice. I haven't seen you in 10 years. I almost knew that was going to be your advice.
man, that's how you jump up. That's how you, even from being a senior to a mid, go apply for a mid-level developer job. You know, Even after only being a junior for a year or so, or year two, go find a mid-level job.
Push
Go take a
yourself.
go take a 30% raise. Tell them you know how to do it. Convince them that you know how to do what they're asking, and then learn quickly.
Yeah. I remember one of your early jobs. I forget the company name and probably shouldn't even say it anyways, but you were like, Evan, I am so over my head. I took this job. They gave me the job. I am so overwhelmed, but I'm learning a
I,
ton.
I know. I think I know which one you're talking about. Well, actually, it could be two. One of them I got fired because it didn't work. I said I knew how to do this stuff, but it was a really small startup. They were super aggressive, and they figured out within the first couple of weeks
Yeah.
that, well, there's more to that story. But
Yeah.
so it doesn't always work, but it's worked every other time. It's the only
So
time I've ever been let go from somewhere.
So then my next question is, and maybe it's the same answer, because that was like your tips to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
You've had a successful career. Your foot's been in the door a long time. Is it
Yep.
the same advice once your foot's in the door? What tips would you give someone for success once they're in the industry?
Hmm. Um, ask for hard things to do. Because if you can, especially and it was earlier in the career, they don't really want your ideas. They want you to just do stuff. So they're just like, here's your user story, here's your card, bang, bang, just take them. Get interested in the bigger projects, what the older guys are doing, the more senior guys, and see if you can see if you could help with that. The stuff that's kind of above your pay grade.
Yeah.
They still might have you be doing the boring part. You might be building out forms of that, but it doesn't matter. You're still in it.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, it's good tips. It's all around personal growth.
Yeah.
I mean, at the center of both of your answers, it's around personal growth.
Yeah, definitely. You can't just and don't stay at a company too long when you're young. Like your first couple of years out of school, don't stay anywhere for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, personal taste, but
Yep.
then you get into learning that company really well, but you're not really becoming a better developer.
Yep.
You're just getting better. You're learning that company better. You're better off jumping because you'll take a rate. You'll take probably at least a 20% raise by jumping,
Yep.
and then you're learning new tech, new business, new everything. That's why I like contracting a lot.
Sure.
You go build something, you leave.
So here's my next question for you, and this is off script here. You moved to Colorado, and
Yeah.
You're in Denver. Do you have a view?
No, most of Denver can't see the mountains.
Okay. Okay.
There's buildings in the way.
How about your desk, your work desk? Is it clean? Can you show off your work environment?
How about empty beer cans? Does that work? I had a late night last night.
Right. Moving on. How, on a day-to-day basis, how intellectually stimulated are you?
Ooh, relatively, but not always. There's a lot of times I get a feature where it takes me 2 weeks and it's boring, it's repetitive.
Yeah.
But being one of the top guys, I get the more challenging stuff. Or I also get to pick what I do because I kind of delegate a little bit.
Sure.
And I enjoy my niche, the front end, because we're rewriting this whole legacy application that was all PHP front end. Yikes! And so I'm in charge. So I get challenged pretty frequently, but not every day.
Cool.
Cool. If I'm not being, that's probably my fault.
Yeah.
It's because I'm slacking. Or I took on something kind of monotonous, which does need to be done sometimes, but can't all be sexy. But
and final question on the list, anyways. What guidance or tips would you give around salary and salary expectations?
Be greedy. And when you're starting in your career, job hop. I've said it a couple times. Or if you want to find a contracted company, I think that's great. I started my own little LLC for contracting, which is great because then there's nobody taking a percentage. I get the full hourly rate. But every time you job hunt, you take 20%. That's kind of my number. I mean, I moved to Denver, which is a higher cost of living. So I about doubled my salary from St. Louis.
Nice.
But my rent doubled too. So,
there's that.
Yeah.
So by job hopping, you're getting your number was 20% raises instead of staying with the same company where you get 3 to 5%.
Right.
Or even if you're lucky, 7%.
Yeah. If you really in contracting, if you can get in one where you're hourly and they don't cap you at 40 hours a week. If you're okay with working, like if you don't have a family, if you're single, you work 60-hour a week every now and then without getting fried. Those checks feel nice.
Nice. Very cool.
60 hours making hourly at a developer's wages.
Awesome.
That's, I don't know. That's one thing that I did.
Good advice. Good advice. Open it up to the class. We got alumni from over a decade ago. Yeah.
So like when it comes to getting your first job, I think that's probably like the scariest thing when I think about like getting into the industry. I know you talked about like some tips, but well, how do you approach like your first job interview or going for an interview for your first like developer job?
I didn't do this, but one thing that may work is having something to show, something you built, whether it's schoolwork, if you got something like whatever your final project is, having something to show. They're not going to read your code. They don't really care all that much. Really, the software development market is so good that it's so hot that they'll be hungry, and they don't really care if you don't know very much. Seriously, I would don't be that nervous. If they see your resume and it's what mine was at that time was doing tech support, I didn't have any. Yeah, I did some work for SLU Med School doing web stuff, but really I didn't have anything, and I got a job pretty much instant. Like my first interview, I probably shouldn't have taken it, but I did. But it was a programming job. And I actually took it while I was still, it was in my final semester of Ranken. So I was working before I graduated.
So having a decent demonstration of work, a project,
Yeah.
a project.
That I think that would be really helpful.
Do you still ski? You like to?
Yeah, going tomorrow.
Very nice.
Copper Mountain.
Copper Mountain.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
We got double black diamonds and all that fun stuff. Are you at that level, or what are you?
No, I used to be. I'm not anymore. Now I'm too scared of getting hurt. That tells you how old I've gotten.
You're getting old, man. You're getting old. Other questions? Yep.
Do you code for fun outside of work, or do you just strictly keep it to your job?
I don't. I never really have. Honestly, I work 50-hour weeks generally. That's plenty. If anything, what I will do is if I'm trying to pick something up, I'll do Pluralsight, which I highly recommend. Subscription. It's like video tutorials for picking up something new, but that's just to further my professional growth. It's not because I enjoy it.
I appreciate the honesty because I can't tell you how many people don't give the honest answer there.
Yeah.
I love to code. Do you really know?
No, I don't.
Do you really? Because you just, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I work with people that do, but
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure, but it comes out in their actions versus their words, right?
Right.
Yeah. Other questions? Hey, it's been awesome interview. I think there's a lot of great tips that you offered. Again, before I close it too early, anything else? I know everyone, aspires to be you someday. Congrats on your, success. We can say it's been 10 years. You've had a successful career. What's next for you? Where are you going in the next 10 years?
Oh boy. I don't know. I'm probably going to ride this startup out for a little while, especially if moving up the ranks a little bit. It's a pretty good company to be with. I think it's going to blow up and make some money, at some point, get a stake in it. Oh boy, I don't know. Family, starting having kids before too long.
Getting old.
I know. I've already waited too long. Been dragging my feet, which my wife is getting sick of. Very sick of.
Hey man, I'm super happy with you, and thanks for reconnecting a little bit.
You bet, man. Anything I can do to help. I got so much out of Ranken, just best jump start.
Appreciate that.
I got right into pretty good jobs within my first year, 2 years. But then it's up to you. Really, you learn so much more on the job than you do in school. That's no offense. That's all school.
Yeah, 100%. The best way to train for work is actual work. I agree.
It is. It is.
All right, man. Well, congrats again. Take care. It's good seeing you.
You bet. No, this is a lot of fun. Thanks.
Okay, later.
See you, Evan.
Bye.